All right, so in this video, what I want to go over are some very common sparring problems, mistakes, and misconceptions. Now, before we get into that, I want you to know that I have a virtual sparring app officially coming out within about a week, and it's ready for the iTunes store in about a week, and then it'll be available on Android maybe in a couple months. And I'm going to leave a video clip of it at the end of this video to show you what it is. It's basically a guy on a screen who throws combos at you, and it's your job to slip and duck and punch back. It's sort of a visual reaction app. And there'll be a free version which gives you an idea, and then a paid version with more advanced features. But check out the video at the end, and check out on the iTunes store within a week, Virtual Sparring Partner. I'm going to leave a link in this video once it's ready, and then for Android in a couple of months I'll be getting up there. Okay, so on with the video. These are some of the most common sparring problems and mistakes I see. A lot of them were mine, so I'm not necessarily just speaking from observation, but also my own experiences. And these are things that you will go through not just when you're new to sparring, but also if you've taken a break and you come back to sparring. If you take a break longer than maybe a month or 2 months, it's easy to forget some of the things that used to come second nature to you, especially when you're at a peak level. Okay, but so you'll have to decide whether this is for you as a beginner or whether this is for you as an experienced boxer coming back after a layoff. The first most common one that I know and that I see for beginners is the same combos, the same patterns, predictable patterns over and over and over again for combos. Usually it's either 1-2 or jab, jab, 2 or 1-2, 3. And already there's some variation there, but if you are always throwing the same combos, the same patterns, and you don't really know what else to do, it's going to be easy to time you and easy to predict what you're doing, and also easy to counter you. So the solution to that is try to memorize 4 or 5 combos that are a little bit different. Maybe the jab, left hook, right hand, or 1 up, 2 down, left uppercut, or you're going to slip first, you're going to fake first, whatever it is. But once you get those combos down, then it's just a matter of working variations off of those combos to mix it up even more. The variations become subtle, yet still effective. Number 2, this is one of the most common ones I see, and that is reaching or leaning. But reaching is not necessarily the same as leaning. Reaching is when you're trying to get your hand to do the job while your body is going the other way. You're here, like so. Or the mindset of the reacher, the person who reaches, is they just want to get that hand to touch. If they could just get that hand to touch. Whereas somebody who leans, they may come in and commit to their punch and just lean over. Reaching and leaning are almost the same thing, but the reacher's mindset is almost like I just want to touch. The solution to that is when you box in the beginning, you can't be half committed. You have to bring your body in there. So when you're here, you have to bring your body to the action. Of course, you can move your head and slip, fake, and do all those things. You can go low to the body, but whatever it is, your feet and your body have to go to the target. You can't have half of you going out and half of you going forward. And it's kind of more like a beginner's mindset to just get that shot. So this takes a little bit of getting used to and training yourself out of to when you go, you got to fully go in, you got to fully commit, even if it's just a basic combo. Third one, I've got about 9 on this list. This is one of the most common ones that you hear me preach all the time, and I'm going to preach it again. And this actually happens a lot to experienced boxers when they come back from a layoff, is moving straight back. The guy comes at them, and then they go like this, straight back to the ropes. My recommendation is you got to take 1 back and then you go. You take 1 hop back and then you go. And I've got a lot of videos on this. There's one that I have retreat explosively like Mayweather, and you can see me demoing different ways. I have retreat into a split step, go left and right. So I have videos on this, but the key is to retreat quick so you get that space, and then you can go left or right. Don't get caught going straight back, otherwise you're going to get hit. It's just going to follow you right back to the ropes, you're going to get hit. So another one that used to happen to me a lot, and this is usually only for shorter fighters, is trying to come up to the taller person's level to punch straight. You're so used to punching the bag this way that when you fight that taller person, you come up like this onto your tiptoes sometimes, and you lose your balance and you can't get power, and if you throw and miss, you are definitely off balance. And this could even happen to tall guys too who just haven't got their knees bent. The key to fixing this is to get a little bit extra low in your stance when you're shadow boxing and on the bag, and let your hands do the work. Have a little bit of a higher target, and make sure that when you're punching, your body stays in its stance and your hands are going to the target, not your body lifting up, rising up to come to the target. Let your hands get up there and do the work while you stay comfortable in your spot. The real key is just relaxation and a good stable stance and bending your knees. But this is a habit that you have to ingrain second nature. It's not necessarily something you want to be thinking about in the heat of sparring. All right, next common problem that I see is, for beginners especially, is chasing the head and head hunting. They go after guys all day trying to catch the head, especially if you're sparring someone more experienced or with a little more experience than you. It's easy for them to tilt back like this and cover, and you don't really land anything because you're always chasing after the head. Build into your combos with, on the bag, build in that head, body, head work, head, body, head. Build in those level changes. If you're a shorter guy, you can get down low. If you're a rangier guy, you can keep that chin tucked and let the hands do the work. But don't get into the habit of head hunting. What happens when you spar somebody very experienced, they just go like this, and all your shots land off, and when you're done out of the gas, boom, 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 they just come right at you. So if you don't have any body work, all somebody needs to do to block your stuff, they just go like this. You got to look for the openings, come up the middle, and be able to mix it up and then create angles and land those shots. So be careful of the head hunting. Build the body work into your combos and shadow boxing and on the bag. Next one. This is an email that I get a lot of people who go from hitting the bag and hitting the mitts and getting their confidence boosted and having their coach tell them how hard they hit and how good they are, and then they go into sparring and the transition is just not what they expected. They can't hit their opponent, they have no power, they feel weak and they feel tired. The thing is it's really nothing wrong with your sparring. It's just that you have elevated expectations. You have super high expectations for what the bag and the pads should be like compared to what sparring should be like. Now, instead of trying to bridge the gap between these two, which really they're just two different things, it's more of having an understanding. Let me give you an example. If I'm sparring somebody and in the round I land 3 good shots on my opponent, along with a couple other jabs and maybe body shots where they're half and half. If I land 3 good shots in a round, out of throwing 50 punches, let's say, and my opponent lands 1 good shot or 2 good shots, that's a good round. That's a good round for me. It's almost kind of like soccer. Like if you win 3-1, that's a good game. I mean, you dominated your opponent. So you gotta lower your expectations in terms of connect percentage when you're in sparring. Just think about some of the pro boxers, like Floyd Mayweather has one of the highest connect percentages in boxing, and his connect percentage is still below 50%. Well, if you're throwing predictable combos and you're also reaching and you have all kinds of other problems going on and you're easy to be countered, then you definitely aren't even going to have close to a 40 or 50% connect percentage. So you really can expect your connect percentage to be maybe 10, 15%. So like out of every 10 to 12 punches you throw, you might land 1 or 2. That means that every 3-4 exchanges that you have, let's say when you throw 3 or 4 punches at a time, you might land 1 punch in 4 exchanges. So you got to have more of a mindset of what your expectations are. Your expectations of yourself shouldn't be connect percentage compared to the bag or mitts and how amazing it is and how amazing it sounds. It should be, did I get more quality shots on my opponent? Did I work my game plan? Did I work my style? Was I able to defend the shots from my opponent, etc., that sort of stuff. So again, if you're landing 4 or 5 good shots in a round, or even 2 or 3 good shots in a round, and your opponent is landing 1 or 2, that's a good round. That's a good round for you. So don't be hard on yourself. Just set realistic expectations of what sparring is like compared to the bag and pad work. Another misconception is that I find with sparring and fights is that you are going to get over your nerves and that you're going to be calm. Now, the only time that I've really been totally calm is when I spar somebody that I know I'm way above their level. Even if I spar somebody who may be slightly below my level or at my level, there's always nerves. There's always nerves because a couple things. Number one is you don't know how boxing is one of these sports where, like, just like a lot of sports, on any given day you don't know how you're going to do. Like, you know, the stars just might not be aligned. You might have woken up and feel a little bit tired. There's something about sparring where on any given day you just don't know how it's going to turn out or how you're going to feel. So you might end up going into sparring against somebody who's a little bit below your level. They're having a good day, you're having a bad day, and they get the best of you. And it's upsetting because then you start to think from there, oh, maybe I'm going downhill, or maybe I'm sucking, or whatever, and it could just be a bad day. The other thing is that in boxing, because of the damage aspect, it's easy to get embarrassed, or it's easy to get put in a discouraging position. So somebody who's slightly better than you might nail you with a good shot and rock you in sparring, and then you're wobbled, and everyone sees this and they saw it, and then you might just start doubting yourself and questioning yourself. You know, unlike in tennis, if somebody aces you, you just go on to the next point. You know, or if you lose a set, you just go on to the next set. So boxing and the damage aspect of it has a psychological component that you can take home with you and carry into the next sparring session. And it's hard, especially for a boxer, a fighter by nature, it's hard to live with that and deal with that. So the nerves I find in sparring and of course in your fights, are always going, and they're always there. You know, you have to go out and execute your game plan and do your best, but my opinion is that don't expect to get over these nerves. You just really have to manage them and train and be as best as you can. Don't expect that they're going to disappear or go away. That's part of boxing. The next common mistake that I see is people always trying to bring their A game to sparring, and nobody's trying new things. Nobody's expanding their style. You know, I remember one time, you know, because Mike Tyson was the guy I wanted to be like, so I was always moving ahead, slipping, moving ahead. And one time in sparring, a guy threw a shot, and I popped back like this, boom, boom, and countered. And my coach right away goes, "Hey, did you see that? Did you see that?" And you know, I knew what I did, but I didn't play it up like it was a big deal. And he goes, "Man, you just leaned back and countered." He goes, "You got to do that again. You got to do that again." And so the thing is that for the week before that, I had decided that I'm going to start looking at other fighters, look at Roy Jones, look at Pernell Whitaker, look at different guys, and try to copy what they do and do different things. And shadowboxing it enough, it came out in my sparring, and I was able to use it as an advantage. Well, if you keep working on your A game, or the only style that you know, or the only style that you like, you're going to get predictable. It's going to be easier to control you, and you won't have other options once somebody is able to take command of your style. If you go up against somebody who can own you working that style, you don't have a plan B. So don't always spar with your A game. If you have a hard time getting on the inside, then get inside. You know, if you are a shorter guy, sometimes it's okay to fight from the outside. If you are a speedy hitter, maybe you want to work some power, maybe you want to work head movement, maybe you want to work the Philly shell, but sometimes it's okay to put yourself out there a little bit to try new things and to develop your style and to develop new aspects to your game, as opposed to always bringing your A game and trying to get the best of your sparring partner. You walk away winning to a certain extent, but really losing because you're not improving. All right, last one, and this is based on a lot of emails that I get, is you have to be specifically critical of your sparring and have takeaways. Meaning, when something happens to you, you get caught with a shot, or you walk into a jab, or on the inside you feel that uppercut. You don't want to think too much about the sparring, but you want to remember those moments, those specific moments, so that you can work on these aspects later. You don't want to come away from sparring saying, "Oh, he pressured me a lot, what do I do?" Or, "He kept on running, what do I do?" You have to follow the train of logic. Let's say somebody keeps running. Okay, so what? what happens is, do you never catch them? Or when you catch them and work, their defense is too tight and you can't penetrate their defense? Or when you try to close the gap, are they tagging you with a check left hook? Try to figure out what the problem is as far as you can take it, so that you can have a takeaway from your sparring and specifically figure out exactly what's going on. Are you getting caught with the uppercut? Are you getting caught with the jab on the way in? When the pressure is happening, are you getting tagged too much? Maybe it's your defense that needs work. Have a specific takeaways from your sparring so that later you can think about them and figure out solutions, and next time bring those solutions to your sparring so that you can see how they do and try to solve specific problems, not generic problems. Okay, so I hope all that stuff helps with your sparring and problems that are commonly faced. These are problems that I've commonly faced, and hopefully they help you work through your sparring and take you up to another level. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.